Right, so I'm going to show you a few secrets to string bending. Okay, here's number one. This is the quarter tone bend. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just doing a slight tweak on the strings. Like, say, for example, on this minor third, or in the key of A, I'm just kind of pushing the string up a little bit like this. And really, all I'm doing is pushing the string out of tune. But the secret to this kind of string bending is you want to resolve it to go back to the root here. And you can do the same thing on any note of the pentatonic scale. So here on the flat 7 right here, just give it a little push. As long as you resolve it to a fretted note, even though you're actually pushing the note out of tune, when you resolve it, it brings it back into tune. And that's really one of the keys to blues and rock playing, is a lot of it is about kind of tension and resolve. So you're creating this tension when you bend the note, and then you're bringing it back into tune when you hit the note above or below. So all those bends are just very small little micro bends, but they kind of just give it a cool bluesy sound. Okay, the next one is similar, but this is the bend and release, where you're doing a quarter tone bend and then you're going to release it and then go to a fretted note. So basically up here on the minor third here in the key of A, I'm just going to give it a little push and then bring it back down again. You can do the same thing here. So basically you're pushing up, bring it down, and resolving to the note below. It's a great way of kind of building momentum. Because you're resolving it, you don't even have to push that note into tune. You're just kind of putting that little bend on there. If I bend that note and didn't resolve it, it'd sound really bad. But the fact that you're just kind of bringing it up and down and resolving just gives it a great sound. Okay, the next one is getting slightly more complicated. This is called a unison bend. And the idea with this is basically you're bending up a note and then you're hitting a fretted note on the next string above. Now, the beauty of this thing, again, it's the same idea. You don't have to get that bend exactly in tune. If it was perfectly in tune, it'd be like this. So it's the same note. But because you're bending up and then hitting that note, you can almost like get halfway there, just kind of give it a little push and then resolve it. And it gives you that kind of Chuck Berry lick sound, that kind of like barking kind of. And you can move that around. It's a very powerful sound. Like that. And again, you just kind of push it and then resolve it. And you can even do that just where you strike once and hit both strings. You get that kind of Hendrixy sound. And you can do the same thing on the second string, on the B string. But the stretch is a little bit wider, 3 frets apart because of the tuning. But again, that's a great, really powerful sound. Okay, and here's the fourth one. This is called an oblique bend. And it's the same kind of idea. It's where you're bending up a note and then you're hitting a fretted note, but it doesn't have to be the same note. So for example, in the pentatonic scale, you might go. So right there, I'm bending on the third finger here, and then I'm fretting the note on the next string above it. And again, this note doesn't even really have to be perfectly in tune. You don't have to bend it all the way up, as long as you resolve it. And you can do the same thing on the second and third strings. So there's 4 cool little string bends. Just the quarter tone bend, the bend and release, unison bend, and the oblique bend. Then you can combine all those together.